In Illinois, we got a tale of two cities. We got Dolton, Illinois, and Chicago, Illinois. And two mayors, one whose time is up, and the other one whose time will definitely be up very soon in 2027. So, first of all, you may not know this person, but she goes by the nickname Super Mayor Tiffany Henyard, a mayor so notoriously corrupt that she lost by 80 points last night in her primary election. This is the same Tiffany Henyard who appointed people close in her family to key positions in the Dolton Township, and also wasted countless amount of the treasury on frivolous, pointless projects, and also benefiting herself as well. And so the people of Dolton, Illinois told her bye-bye, and she lost by a whopping 80 points. That is so sad and pathetic. But folks, you've never seen a mayor like this before. I thought I've seen it, right? I've thought I've seen everything, but this mayor truly is a clown.
Breaking news as we come on the air tonight. It appears Tiffany Henyard is out. Thanks for joining us. I'm Scott Schneider.
I'm Dawn Hasbrook. Our Dane Placco has been the leader in breaking news on all of the Dolton drama. Dane, this sounds like a shocker.
Yeah, Tiffany Henyard didn't just lose tonight. You might call this a political annihilation. Her opponent, trustee Jason House, getting a 7-1 margin over her tonight. House with 87.9% of the 4,400 votes cast here today. Henyard getting just 12% of the vote.
Now, I know the volume is a little bit low, so when I clip this video, I will be raising up the audio on it, but just you guys need to see this full report.
Numbers came in fast this evening, sparking a huge celebration here at House's campaign headquarters. An explosion of cheers and emotion tonight as the numbers started coming in, showing Jason House and his slate winning in a landslide. Some people even started dancing. Tonight's election effectively signals the end of the 4-year tumultuous term of Mayor Tiffany Henyard, who garnered national attention for her lavish spending, personal perks, and questionable contracts, all of which are now at the center of an FBI investigation.
And yes, that was a town hall fight that happened. And, you know, never put your hands on somebody, okay? Don't do that. But also, folks, let me tell you something else here. If you're the mayor, don't run into the fight.
The past few months in Dolton have been political chaos with canceled meetings, a no-show mayor, even a fist fight at the Thornton Township meeting where Henyard is also the elected supervisor. House telling the crowd tonight that Dolton's nightmare is finally over.
We faced 4 years of intimidation, 4 years of failure, and tonight is the new day for the community of Dolton.
We have suffered for 4 years, and now victory. Yes. We are claiming victory today is ours.
Henyard is out. We dancing all night, y'all.
Dance off, pants off.
We so happy.
Now, we've not been able to track down Tiffany Henyard yet tonight. She was not telling anybody earlier where she was holding her campaign event. She's been laying low, but we did talk to her earlier today as she cast her vote at a nearby school. Here's what she had to say around 4 o'clock this afternoon. Don't win, what are you going to do?
I might run for something bigger. You never know. We're not going to talk about that till we get the results, but I am confident that I will have a landslide this evening. My residents do.
Oh no, that's not what happened. That's not what happened at all. That's not what happened to Tiffany's prediction. I mean, when you tell people to F off, when you screw with people's money, when you have people in positions of power where they abuse the residents and constituents, they're not going to welcome you back with open arms, moron.
Love me despite fake news not showing the good that I do in the community, because I do a ton of good, but y'all just painted me as bad news for 4 years.
So not only did Jason House win, but also his backed clerk and 3 of the trustees, which means there will be almost a full slate of new trustees on the Dolton Village Board that are supporting Jason House. A huge political shakeup here in Dolton tonight. This is the primary election. There's a general election still with an independent candidate running against House on April 1st. But for all practical purposes, here in a very blue suburb, it is the general election as well. Live in Dolton, Dane Placco, Fox 32 Chicago.
We'll see what happens. But folks, hey, listen, breaking news, in case you're not seeing it with your own 2 eyes. This was at her campaign rally for Tiffany Henyard. All right. Now look, you got the camera crew there. Everyone's there chilling. Gentlemen, why are you sitting down looking at your cell phones? Have to keep this muted. Oh, look, great setup. They got food there. Where is everybody? Hello? Where is everybody? Doesn't look like there's a lot of people there. Only those lame enough to show up showed up. So, the great problem known as Tiffany Henyard, aka Super Mayor, is now gone. So this self-proclaimed Super Mayor is now a super loser. Dolton dictator. Oh, wow, that's pretty clever. Tiffany Henyard suffered a landslide loss in Tuesday's Democrat primary after more than a year of seedy scandals, wild antics, and haunting remarks finally caught up with her at the ballot box. The under fire Illinois mayor finally ran into her kryptonite voters in her own Chicago suburb, who overwhelmingly picked village trustee Jason House as the Democrat nominee. With all the precincts reporting, House notched nearly 88% of the vote, while Henyard gained a measly 12%, according to Cook County election results. Earlier Tuesday, Henyard confidently claimed she would easily win, making clear, "I see no competition," according to Fox 32, a local news outlet here in the city. "Come be part of me making history once again." Oh, yes, you were. You lost by 80 points. "I'm calling for my base. I'm calling for all the people that love the super mayor who say you support me. I need you to show up and show out," Henyard added, a request that apparently fell on deaf ears. By the way, as it stands right now, her X account has been turned private. We'll see if she has to respond to anything later on. House was once an ally of Henyard, told CBS Chicago he was ecstatic as he declared victory. The voters have spoken. They've spoken in a loud way. And I've said it before, I'll always say it, it does not represent Dolton. We had one rogue individual, he added in reference to Henyard. Dolton is proud, and we are happy that we are ready to change the narrative. Speaking of which, she is under investigation, but I did see this one video. And I got to tell you, I'm all for people going on social media. I'm all for anybody to really step up, and make your presence heard. But what is it with all these jagoff politicians and corporate media pundits coming onto social media? Because, hey, folks, subscribe to her YouTube channel.
Tiffany Henyard, the people's mayor. So I heard you guys was looking for me. If you're looking for Tiffany Henyard, press the subscribe button. Yes, you. Press the subscribe button. So, what do you want me to talk about? This or that? This and that? Or me? Tiffany Henyard. You pick. Put your questions in the comments, and I'm going to answer all questions. Just be respectful. If you did.
No, that's not how the internet works. That's not how the people of Dolton, Illinois, that's not how they feel. And as for everyone who's been covering the tale of the super mayor, yeah, you're going to get a lot of questions. What you just opened was a Pandora's box.
Disrespectful, I'm not going to answer it. Because remember, I got the tea with the receipts. Matter of fact, if you want the tea, get it from me. Go tell that.
I'm pretty sure her lawyer is screaming at her, "Why did you do that? Why?" But there's also something else that's happening too, because we're going to pause here for a minute, and we're going to fly now from Dolton to Chicago. Now, I have been watching Mayor Brandon Johnson's administration with some curiosity and interest. And Mayor Brandon Johnson has received a major gut check from the entire populace of the city of Chicago. Nearly 80% of Chicagoans disapprove of Mayor Brandon Johnson. Boy, talk about a way to end February, you know. Hardlands Media turns 8. Our YouTube channel turns 8, but also we get so many ups and downs here. And I got to tell you, ending this month strong. Tiffany Henyard out. Mayor Brandon Johnson soon to be out, because this is what's happening here in the Windy City. So Chicago, just under 80% of respondents in a new poll said they disapprove of the job that Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson is doing. The overwhelming disapproval comes from a survey of nearly 700 likely Chicago voters in a poll conducted between February 20th and the 21st by MT Strategies. It's the latest sign that residents' frustration with Johnson, who took office in May in 2023 and whose tenure had been marked by continued violent crime and tensions with aldermen over city finances and the leadership of Chicago Public Schools, among other issues. Again, continuing on, a whopping 79.9% of respondents said they disapprove of Johnson's record. Only 6.6% of respondents held a favorable view, which gave him a net favor rating of negative 73.3%. About 12% of respondents had a neutral opinion of Johnson. The findings of the M3 Strategies poll align closely with the findings of a poll conducted last month by the Libertarian Illinois Policy Institute. The M3 Strategies poll also asked residents what they thought was the biggest issue facing Chicago. About 2/3 of response to the top issue the city was facing was crime. Absolutely. So let's look at these numbers here. Top issues, 67% crime. High taxes. Yeah, that's a problem. 54%. Inflation, cost of goods, 41%. Immigration control of the border and security, 24%. More funding for Chicago public schools, 20%. Racism, 11%. Need for school choice vouchers, charters, 6%. Reproductive freedoms, 4%. And LGBTQ rights at 3%. And look, folks, when it comes down to issues, definitely crime. I love my city, but yes, crime is a problem here. High taxes, huge problem here. Inflation, and of course, immigration have also been major concerns in this city. What we know, pollsters also asked respondents to disclose whom they voted for in the 2024 presidential election and how they identified in terms of political ideology. Nearly 71% of those polled said they voted for former Vice President Kamala Harris, the Democrat candidate, and 18% said they voted for President Donald Trump. About 8.5% they voted for another candidate. Now, here's a fascinating thing. While yes, 71% of those respondents did vote for Kamala, this number of 18% and 8.5% for both Trump and or another candidate, be it independent, is a telltale sign of things shifting, because normally this number would be above 71. Normally in Chicago, when it comes down to voters, that number is higher. And something tells me that the number for people voting for said Democrat presidential candidates in the future will get much lower. And this goes on to what we have talked about on Hardlands Media, especially when the information was shared on how the various areas of Chicago voted on November 5th. 2 districts turned red here in the city. That's never happened before. It's a sign of a machine that's finally dying that was started by Old Man Daley many decades ago, before even yours truly was born. If this is truly a sign of the end of the Democrat machine, Mayor Brandon Johnson has ushered it in. His policies have been met with disdain and anger. His leadership has been called into question. His handling of constituents, especially when they were challenging him, has been deplorable, especially his confrontations in City Hall, his hostility to the press, but also his failure to follow through with many of his promises. It is, in my opinion, that Mayor Brandon Johnson will be a one-term mayor. I'll be surprised if he will be even able to build a coalition that he had from the very beginning. And I'll also be surprised if he does choose to run, him making it past the primary. Because for the past 2 city mayoral elections here in Chicago, in 2019 and in 2023, it was a whole hodgepodge of a who's running for the office of Chicago mayor. It's going to be a bloodbath. And this time around, I think more people are going to be actively involved. The machine has lost a lot of its influence. It's not dead yet, but the weight that it once held many years ago, its push and pull, it doesn't got enough steam left in the tank. And so we witnessed this here, and we here at Heartlands Media, we've been telling our colleagues in independent media that 2027 will be a very fascinating city election year, and all eyes should be on Chicago because that office was turned into something by the actions of Old Man Daley. If you ever want to read anything, please read the book American Pharaoh. It'll give you a clear eye on what Old Man Daley did to make the office of Chicago mayor what it is now. Continue on, just under 40% of respondents said they identify as moderate in terms of their political ideology. A little over 17% identified as somewhat or very conservative, and 43% identified as somewhat or very liberal. About 27 respondents identified as African American, nearly 19% identified as Hispanic or Latino, 5.5% identified as Asian American, and 43% identified as white or Caucasian. So there is a lot to be talked about. And even then, just one more time for the people who wish to see this, because Chicago also has another problem. And, I did a short segment about this on the live stream, but everyone needs to see it again one more time. And it's very concerning. So if you are tuning in, Chicago has a crumbling infrastructure problem. This happened this morning. Mayor Brandon Johnson, what is happening on your watch? The city's bridges and roads are falling apart. Heartlands Media has been on the streets with our Galaxy S7 cell phone way back in the day, to being on the radio, to being on TV. And, we've talked about our crumbling infrastructure. Look at this here. And, the thing is, more of this information would get out, but there's also a problem here because local media is struggling here too. But this is what happened earlier this morning. A steel pipe broke off an overpass on the Kennedy Expressway going to O'Hare. Gonna have to share this with Jimmy Dore, because he's going to know how his old hometown is falling apart under the ever watchful eye of Mayor Brandon Johnson. Folks, Chicago, the state of Illinois, is witnessing a huge, major shakeup politically. The Democrat machine failing. Tiffany Henyard out. Mayor Brandon Johnson soon to be out. Be sure to subscribe to Heartlands Media, folks, because as the months go on, these stories are going to get crazier. Prepare yourselves.